Hey everybody, welcome to Street Fight Radio. Glad you're here. We're not on the live stream this time. We've got a very special episode today. For those of you that don't know who we are the number one anarcho-comedy radio show on any station across the nation. I'm Brett Payne. My co-host is always Brian Quimby. Say what's up.
Hey.
And today we have a very special guest, Patton Oswalt.
Hi, this is the sound of my... Oh, I'm sorry, that's the Dana Gould hour. Hi, I'm Patton Oswalt.
What's up, man? How are you?
Guys, I'm good. It's good to be in Columbus, Ohio.
How's the Midwest treating you?
I love the Midwest. I love the eeriness of the kind of wide open spaces out here, and I'm actually kind of I'm always puzzled when I come to the Midwest and kind of the plain states where, you know, a lot of the weird fiction that came out of Providence, Rhode Island and Bangor, Maine with Lovecraft and Stephen King, was there a Midwestern weird tradition, kind of the terror of the open spaces and the wide highways and stuff like that? I mean, I know that we got Springsteen's Nebraska album out of Some of the Darkness, but there's a real eeriness, especially in Ohio.
Yeah, closest one to me is the movie Gummo. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, I saw a double feature of Gummo and Julian Donkey Boy at the New Beverly, and I saw Julian Donkey Boy first, and I think I got 20 minutes into Gummo and went, enough! I should have spaced this out. Can't do these both. So I never went back to Gummo.
I think the thing about me and Brett both grew up not in the city. We grew up like in the suburbs.
Oh, okay.
So the weirdest thing about the weirdest thing I ever did in the country was me and my friends used to go to this weird graveyard that was in the middle of nowhere and huff gasoline and chase each other in the woods.
We did that too. There was a cornfield in my suburb that used to abut a cornfield. Now it's all developed. And at the back of this cornfield, there were these woods. And in the woods, there was this tiny kind of ruined Confederate cemetery. So you would go through the corn stalks into this wood, and then there'd be this cemetery.
Sounds awesome.
That's what's weird. That it stinks because the woods we grew up hanging out in are completely gone too.
It's all gone.
And I wonder if any kids are going out. I guess because my daughter is 14 and she doesn't do anything that I did at all. I don't identify at all with her childhood.
Yeah,
period.
Well, I had a potato gun at her age already.
Really? But we openly would buy bottle rockets, and we would make bottle rocket guns, which is just like you tape a fake stock to an empty bottle and put bottle rockets in. And we would just shoot each other with bottle rockets in the cornfield. Eyes could have been blown out of skulls, and that's just what you did. And you were a shitty parent if when your kids came home from school, they stayed in and watched TV. A good parent was go outside, come back at 6 when dinner is ready.
Right.
That was a good parent.
It was. I mean, my parents, I had 4 brothers and sisters. So, they were just get out of here.
How were you,
please.
the oldest or the youngest?
I'm exactly in the middle.
Well, see, at that point, they're like, yeah, we don't care. They worry about the first one. By the time you came along, they're just like, he's fine.
It was real weird. The first 3 of us didn't graduate high school when we were supposed to.
Really?
My sister, my brother, both didn't graduate at all. They got expelled, both of them. And then I didn't pass the last year. So when I talked to my kid, she asked me what I was doing when I was her age. And I told her, she was asking me, what was a regular day when you were my age? And I said, well, I used to hang out at a pool hall and smoke cigarettes all day.
Right, yeah.
At 14, that was my whole life because nobody was telling me that I had to do anything. I never had, kid, it seems like now, at least in the city, I'm sure there are bad kids. I mean, I go to Wendy's and see kids stoned and giggling and acting like fucking idiots. But I think it's parents are cooler now, I guess, in a way. Because I know that I've never disciplined in any real way my kid. And by the time I was 14, I'd been grounded 1,000 times.
And you remember it not taking, so you're like, well, what's the point of doing this? It's not going to work.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, again, maybe we're all seeing a very limited section of what's going on in America. I'm sure in a lot of these devastated industrial towns where, prescription drugs are wiping out families. God knows, the kids are maybe growing up feral wolf children. But
that's a lot of our friends.
Yeah, for the most part, it seems like there's a lot more, at least in my circle of friends who are parents, there's a lot of awareness of how we were raised and what worked and what didn't. So, there's no reason to do it. And there's also a very good awareness of how to explain shit to kids in terms of, I know this sucks, and this sucked when I first had to do it, but here's why it's beneficial.
Yeah.
Rather than us being raised like, just do it, and it'll be fun. We're more into explaining, well, here's why.
Yeah, and it's like, it's easy to just start screaming and yelling, but it doesn't get anything done. If you take the time, that's a bigger punishment than screaming and yelling. When your parents sit down and want to talk to you, it's like, that's a punishment.
How old is your daughter?
She's 14, and when she was 5, 6, 7, 8, in between those, still to this day, it's like when she did something bad, she doesn't do anything bad now. I have a very loose interpretation of what bad is. Anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't have, I probably have the longest leash in the world on my kid, but the thing was, it was like, if you do something bad, you got to go sit in your room until you're ready to have a conversation with me. And she would freak out about a conversation because I wanted to explain to her why things were bad. I wanted to tell her when you're mean to somebody, that means you're an asshole and you're not going to have any friends.
Right, yeah. What we try to explain to Alice is, if you're mean, because my daughter's 10. Just now butting up against a couple of mean girls. Yeah. Because up through second grade, everyone's just kind of the same. And in third grade is when it starts to faction into who are the cool girls, who are the mean girls. And I'm just like, what I told her was, if you're mean, it doesn't mean that you won't have friends. You'll just have really shitty friends.
Yes.
And when you're older, you still won't be friends with them. But if you're a nice person, maybe you won't seem like you're with the coolest people right now, but trust me, later on, those are the people you'll want to be friends with. And the mean people you're just going to want to avoid them when you're older. You're going to go, oh my God, I wasted because I wasted a couple years in high school trying to get in with the mean kids and the bullies because I was terrified. I'm like, fuck, I missed out on all these years of being with the freaks, which would have been way more beneficial to me.
Right. I was the same way. I mean, I was a mean kid and a bully. And then when I graduated high school, the only people I was really into corn and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I started hanging out with the people that were into the things that I was into. And that's when I started kind of, trying to write songs and trying to write poetry, which then led to, I'm not a very talented songwriter, but I think I'm funny and got me here.
If you try to make things and you actually enjoy that you're making stuff, that will draw the people to you that you need to be hanging out with. But if you're just trying to acquire things and relationships, those are the two areas of focus that will always, always fuck you up. And I was worse than a bully. A bully would have been bad enough. I was worse. I was the bully's little friend for a couple years. I'm like, I'll get in with the bully.
Yeah.
And it's weird how I'll see, if you look at the biographies of a lot of these people, I'm obsessed with Karl Rove because he was a guy that was raised in some pretty shitty circumstances. I have a lot of empathy for how he was raised and what he went through as a kid, but he decided, I am going to be I'm going to protect myself.
Yep.
And I'm going to be with the bullies forever. And it permanently spun him into evil, and he never got out of it.
And it rots you, like dark magic.
It really does rot you. And I went on that path for a couple of years out of terror, and then I'm very fortunate that through some things that were in me, but also some guidance I got from some very cool adults and some very cool friends that I met, I went the other fucking way.
Yeah.
But there is I see where that impulse comes from, and maybe that's why I get so enraged when I see it in people that are in their 40s, and I'm like, you should fucking know better at this point. How the fuck did you not wake up to this?
I mean, sort of the story of even Street Fight and some of the early stuff was that me and him did a show together with two other guys at a period, and it was. I was trying.
Was it a podcast or
it was a
show?
podcast?
Okay.
And I was trying to be edgy. I came up on Opie and Anthony and Howard Stern. That was the stuff that I loved, and I wanted to do that.
I was into Stern in the back in DC in the early 80s when he was on WWDC 101.
Wow.
I read his books.
What was that like?
It was a lot of 50 Ways to Rank Your Mother, stuff that John and Yoko songs and Vietnam stories, and then but then I went from and then he got fired. And then I got into the Grease Man.
Oh, yeah.
Doug Track, the Grease Man, which was we all know how he ended up. So yeah, I mean, I came out of that 80s kind of, and part of it was, again, I was trying to be the bully's little friend, and it was that thing of I'm terrified of not looking cool, so I will attack other people, and I'll criticize everything, and and keep myself safe. And it took a long time before I but also, not to defend myself because I should have known better, but also there just weren't other fucking options like there are today. It was whatever was on the radio and whatever was on the 3 TV channels, and I'm in the suburbs of fucking Virginia. Yeah. I don't have access to John Waters films, to Army Man magazine, to other venues. It wasn't until college and I started watching like really, really early David Letterman that I was like, oh, this is a little, and SCTV and stuff like that.
Well, I mean, the comedians of comedy stuff was like pretty important to me. And like, I feel like, so I was like really into this like edgy thing where it was like, oh, it's cool to be mean if everybody knows you're not really mean. And we're doing this podcast together. And I'm talking about something that happened to me in high school. Mm-hmm. And I had just met Brett like 3 or 4 months before this. And I was like, you guys know how I'm like a really nice guy? And Brett was like, you're not like nice at all. You're not nice to anybody. And it shocked me in this weird way where then I started to think like, shit, none of the people I grew up with hang out with me anymore. My wife is pretty miserable right now. And like, the only thing the thing that I do all the time is like I try to cut people down when they're in front of me, but try to do it in like Opie and Anthony way, or tough crowd.
Right,
like we're just busting each other's balls, but it's like it's not fun for the person that's getting their balls
Well,
busted.
I mean, again, it's fine if it's all equals busting each other's balls, but when you start projecting it out, or when you specifically bring people into your circle just for the purpose of busting their balls, that gets kind of evil after a while.
Yeah, and I did that a lot.
Yeah, and that gets, and also it just gets kind of sad.
Yeah.
Because if your whole comedy is based on excluding people, eventually you will exclude everyone. It'll be you and your little group, and then you'll have nothing to do but turn on each other, and then it all falls apart. And I saw that in with Opie and Anthony, which was a bummer because there was I had a lot of fun on those shows a lot.
They were
but
funny.
Then I also saw that sometimes in there were certain very quote unquote progressive comedy cliques in the mid 90s in LA that their thing was about excluding people until they had excluded everyone except the core group, and then the core group turned on each other and then they didn't hang out anymore.
Yeah.
It always goes that way. It happened with Warhol's Factory. It happened with it always fucking goes that way.
Yeah, that was a big one for me. Because we had been doing the podcast for like 5 or 6 years, and we had Chapo Trap House guys on our show, and then they go on to get like tons of fucking fame and attention, all this stuff. And I was like, my move right now is I can try to tear them down and make like a point on why they're bad and I'm better, or they stole everything from me, or like be petty about it, and like, and what is that going to leave? What does that leave me? In the end, it's like I lose. I write enough autobiographies at this point to know that shit blows up.
But also, go ahead. Sorry.
But like the working with people, lifting other people up, building the scene and being around people is what gets us all together.
Yes.
It's not a competition at all.
And that's what I see with the model that I see for what we do and what the other people around us do is like kind of like what happened with Mr. Show and stuff like that, where it's just like this huge group of people that are doing something that is kind of the same, but everybody's different.
And I saw that in Mr. Show, that there was a delight in launching people, and I kind of tried to bring that to